Hello, welcome to my grandpa's train. Today's video is a result of a swap meet I went to yesterday, which was really close to home. It was quite nice not to have to travel an hour one way to go to a train show. I arrived a little bit late, so they let me in for free, which was nice. However, most of the vendors were packing up and getting ready to leave. Occasionally, though, that will allow me to find a really good deal on things, and that was the case for both things today in this video. First, we're going to look at this box of American Flyer. This is actually a complete set. And then I have something more unusual to show you, which I will save for last. Alright, without further ado, let's dig into this box and see what American Flyer items we have today. Alright, as you can see, this is the 302 Atlantic. This one has the die-cast shell and is missing the tender, but this has the smoke and choo-choo, so it will be interesting to get this one going again. The steam whistle and the bell are rusted, and something happened to the headlight. You can see here that it has been bashed in. I think this one got dropped on its nose. Lots of paint chipped off. This might actually be a good candidate for a restoration. This one has heavier lettering on this one. I'll have to check in Greenberg's and see what they say about that. A little bit of rust here and there, otherwise in okay shape. So, let's see what's next. Here's a Southern Gondola. Nothing special about it, except it's quite dusty, so this is going to get a bath. And who's next? We'll go in the order of interest. Here's a CB&Q 921 hopper car. Not in bad shape. The lettering is worn off and it's a little dirty on top. Here's a 5-digit Gulf tank car 24313, and this is the all-plastic version. So the frame is plastic and again quite dusty. It's been sitting for quite some time. All right, here's a New Haven boxcar. This is the 5-digit 24036. So this is interesting. This has a screw on this end to remove the shell. So this is a design that was getting closer to how Lionel made their cars, where you unscrewed one end and it popped off. In very good shape, a little dusty, and missing the brake handle. Alright, now we're getting to the really interesting stuff. Here's a Union Pacific cattle car. Missing the brake wheel. Again, has that screw and tab designed to hold on that holds it together. Some lettering is starting to wear. Not too dirty, but a little dirty. This side looks pretty good. Alright, this one's unusual. This is a Great Northern boxcar, and somehow the lettering has gotten very worn on this. This side is just as bad, so I don't know if somebody was going to try to repaint this into something else. The logo is starting to peel on this side. It looks like this is actually paint that got spilled on it or painted over, or this is someone's attempt at weathering. This side looks just as bad. The label sticker is worn off even more on this side. This is a different version. This has the 4 pins holding it together, and I cannot tell if this is a 3-digit or a 5-digit. It's quite worn. Alright. Here's a Central of Georgia boxcar. This one looks really good. It is missing the screw on this end, but the lettering is in good shape. It's quite dirty. This one happens to have the pins underneath again. I thought it had 8 pins for a second, but these are just the alignment holes to keep it square. A little bit of rust on the door rails, but otherwise not bad. A lot of these cars I don't have, and these are pretty neat, because these are a lot less common that I've found. And we have the Baltimore and Ohio blue and yellow boxcar. This is the 5-digit version, and it has the screw on this end holding it together, slot on this end, so no pins underneath, a little bit of rust, and quite a bit of dirt all over it. So this is going to need a bath. I'll have to be gentle. The logo is peeling off on this side again. And a lot of the lettering is worn off on this one too. So I don't know if somebody was trying to weather these or paint them or what. So this is the 24023 boxcar. Second last, we have a 935 Deluxe Caboose. This is the American Flyer Lines version. Has a little dirt on it, and it has its smokestack chimney in place. The ladders on the top ends are a little bashed up, I think, but it does have marker lights. Now this is unusual. This has 3 marker lights, 1 on this end, 2 on this end, in pretty good shape. And you might be able to tell by the top of this, the last item in this box, this is the New Haven 21573 General Electric. This is an electric locomotive and the EP5 model. So these had single motor, and from what I've heard, were not super great because they're only a single motor, not a lot of power. These have working pantographs, or working to a degree. So that one pops up and can be manually raised and lowered. Same goes for this one. This engine has a lot of dirt on the top, so the shell is going to need to be taken off and given a bath. This has 1 horn on this end. I think these are supposed to have a horn on each end. Yeah, we can see that it was broken off at one point. Otherwise, I don't see many cracks or anything on it. The shell appears to be in decent shape. And this is the 5-digit later version with the 2-position reverse unit, which can be a little bit finicky to work on, but I think are actually a little bit less complicated than the 4-position units on the older ones. Again, single motor on this is probably going to need a little bit of cleaning to get it revived, but we'll put it back together and test it out on the tracks. But before we test the EP5 and its 9-car train, I have this. I'm not sure really what this is, but the buttons, labels, and switches on each box here give me an indication of what it was or what it could be. So this box has a chart on the top, a whole bunch of switches, a knob, a button, and an on-off switch, and this red button is labeled horn. This knob isn't labeled at anything. But right away, I think this was a kit project or a homemade project. On the back we have speaker and aux. I think these are audio outs. What this is a vintage electronic horn sound generator. This I played with last night after the swap meet, and I know it works. So I'm going to demonstrate what this thing does, but there's also more in the box. This came with a speaker, a realistic model, very small. So this thing will play horn sounds nice and loud. And then the last item was this. This is another project box. This has a bunch of dials on the front and a couple switches, plus an on-off switch, an indicator lamp, and then around back, some more inputs, outputs, and I'm not sure what these do. This is labeled power pack, this is labeled ground and 12 volts. If anybody has any guess as to what this is or was, I'd be curious to know what you think. It has something to do with sounds, as each of these knobs will change something about it. Plus there's 2 tapes on it available, so I don't know if this is some kind of a generator for diesel sounds, or if it, because we've got horn in and we've got 2 tape inputs as well as an aux out and a speaker connection. But then there's these connections. So I have to wonder, is this device capable of modulating train sounds onto track and then playing them through a speaker inside the locomotive, similar to how American Flyer did with their horn generators? There is only one way to find out. So I'm going to test this a little later off camera because I have no idea how this thing works or what it does. But I'm going to now hook up the horn generator. Okay, I have the horn generator plugged in and turned on, and it's tuned up to one of the horn sounds. Let's hear how it performs. Wow, that is quite loud. So for a vintage electronic generator system, I think this definitely blows away the old American Flyer tube generators, but it's definitely not a comparison to DCC and modern digital sounds. Okay, I'm going to move this and we'll test out the American Flyer electric train set. Well, minor change of plans. I will not be running the train with this load of cars because it feels like each of these box cars and freight cars has a thick layer of grease in the axles. And I'm using a lot of force to move these cars around. Plus one is missing a coupler. That poor little EP5 will not be able to pull a train that stiff around. So I'm going to pull those off. We'll clean those up and run those around in a future video. And we'll just test the locomotive now to see if it moves at all. Let's see if this thing moves. What if we raise the pantograph? It sounds just like the solenoid is activating. Let's make sure it's not locked. I'm going to keep the pantographs down because I don't think it'll go through my tunnel without snagging one of those pantographs and ripping it off. Check out this amount of slop that's in the front truck where the motor is. That was one design flaw, I believe, with the Gilbert diesels. I shouldn't be able to do that. Alright, I disconnected, or I enabled the reverse mechanism, so now it should activate correctly. Yeah, it's not happy. So this is going to get taken apart, cleaned up, and serviced, greased, lubricated, oiled, and everything that's required to make a locomotive work again. So I hope you enjoyed this little unboxing video of another bit of American Flyer trains, as well as this unusual horn generator. Please stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't, and also leave me a like and a comment. Until next time, thanks for watching.